Alright, if you're like me, your 2005 Honda CR-V starter went out and you tested everything possible. You have to do that. If nothing worked, your battery was changed, that didn't work, your starter still just kind of makes a click. When you turn over the car, it doesn't do anything but go, then you've got a bad starter. You test the continuity with the body of the starter to the black, and then the solenoid, you stick a lead on there and put it to the red and see if it all has continuity. If the continuity is good, your lines are fine, which that's rare anyway, so you change the starter. The videos online say you gotta change the intake manifold. Well, that's ridiculous, unless you have less than 2 hours to do this job and you're a mechanic by profession. I would not recommend that. It compromises the integrity of your motor if you don't know what you're doing, and you can cause a lot more damage than you're trying to do. Now, if you have to, read up on it. There's that guy that did it online. He did a pretty good job. Just watch that and you'll be fine. Anyway, we didn't do that. We removed those pieces. There's a cross member, the plastic, and then the grill. Anything you can do to make this area right here less is good. I also removed this bracket here that held the radiator, so the radiator can move a little bit. You don't want to flex that too much because there's stuff, but yeah, that's fine. So give a little bit of give, and you also want to get a box and put it on the front of your radiator so you don't damage your radiator fins, because those are important for thermodynamics. So don't do that. Remove everything you can here. So you want this space to be open, because the starter is going to come out and up. That's how I brought it out. It was out and up. It's not too difficult to do. It's just very time consuming and very puzzling. This is a massive puzzle of margins. You just work slow, gentle, feel your way in, feel your way out, you'll be fine. The bolts in question are this guy. This is the bastard of the job. He's the 14mm. So this is how the starter is sitting in there, and this would be up and this would be down. This is in the back right here, like that. And then this guy is a 17. That's a 14. This is a set, and this is all metric. This is a 17mm down here. He's not too hard to get to, but you break him loose and then just leave him there as he's been broke, and then start working on the 14. Take the 14 out first, and then this one comes out. It can come out either way. You just want to have, you know, it holding in there. And this top post is the solenoid post. It's 12mm. So once you test everything, you decide to change the starter, pull those off, take everything out you can here. I worked from the top. I did a lot of aligning from the bottom, so I would just lay on the ground. This is not lifted off the ground. This is just sitting. So you can do this job. There was a few times where I had to have my arm like this and really kind of tucked in, and it hurt. It you know, but if you work on cars, you already know that it hurts. One of the more painful experiences is getting the knock sensor plug out. That's right behind the starter, so the knock sensor will be right here in the motor. You basically, it's super tight. I saw one guy use a pair of pliers and he like worked it up in there. That was cool. I just took my hand, jammed it into the pain zone, and then jammed it further until you grab it, and then just say ugh, and then pull it out. It sucks, but it'll pop off. That'll be great. Don't pull the line out, because then you're screwed, and then you got to change the harness or something, and that's ridiculous. So just be really careful. The MVP of the game was this guy, the door puller. He gets all the little brads off, boop, boop, boop. But it also does a lot of holding things, moving things around, that kind of stuff. I tried to remove the bolts from the bottom with long extensions. That really doesn't work. It's really you just can't get the proper torque. So what I did was got this guy. It's a 3/8 drive ratchet with an extender. So it's got this little collar there, and it just kind of extends how you want it. So I basically just worked it. Once I got the socket and the extension, the socket extension setup you want, in my experience, was when this was on the back like this. The socket experience you want is a socket with a short, basically half the size of this extension. That's how I did it, and that got the extension right here, flush. And then I would feel around. You can't see anything down there with your hands. I mean, yeah, you have to see it with your hands, but then I would work this down and I would get it onto the socket like that, and then I would just gently, 3 clicks at a time, or even 1 click at a time sometimes, like this, and I would just have it under here like that and just kind of click, click, click. It was tough. The 14mm was tough. The 17mm was not so bad. This guy, you just kind of pop that one loose. You'll figure that out. And the 12mm was a wrench, so I just used the wrench and just held my finger on the left side, and then with my right hand I just kind of gently moved that until it loosened up, and then I kind of worked with my finger, did that as well. And then you just pop it loose. It's kind of stuck once you get the bolts out. You pop it loose with a hammer. I just kind of banged it on the bottom and the side until it popped out, lifted it out like this, and yeah, that was it. It wasn't crazy hard, but this took about 8 hours of work to do. It's tough. I was gonna take the radiator out, which would be easier than the intake. You know, just drain it and pick it up. It's awesome, but I didn't have to. So that was my reserve if my hands were not reaching. I have really long fingers, but I got in there. There's a lot of this kind of stuff. But once you get it and you go underneath and you measure and you make sure it all looks good with your eye, and you make sure the socket is always on the bolts. Where's that bolt at? There it is. You make sure the socket's flush with the bolt, so when it's on there, before you start cranking on it, you need to be gentle, because I kind of rounded it a little bit, but it's fine. It's great still. So you want to use the original hardware. I don't think that the new one was, I don't know, junk. About the starter, they have the online options, which are great for price, but honestly, this job's way too hard to put junk on your car. It's if it were on top of the motor or something, fine, $150, great. But no, because this is not easy, and I don't ever want to do this again for this car if I can help it. So this guy was from my local Irish dealer. He had it for about $250. I used a coupon on my email, sign up for email alerts, and you can get it for like $208 after the, what do you call it, the core is off. It'll be about $190, so not bad. But all in all, you just work from the top, work from the bottom every once in a while, remove these brackets here and here so that the radiator can move, remove the fan, and have one of these, have some extensions, 3/8. These are great always, because when you're working underneath, little bits fall. Mechanics gloves are invaluable, and that's pretty much it. And then reverse how you put it together and taking it apart. It's pretty simple, but it's a pain. So good luck, and I'm gonna lower this guy in now from here, pop it in, put the 14mm in first with my finger, put the 17 in, put the 12 on top, tighten them all up. You don't want to tighten too hard, just snug them up real good. They do sit with the flywheel, so be cognizant of that. And then put the car back together. Test it before you put everything back together, and that's it. Well, thanks guys. Good luck.